Just put this together last night, so these are where my notes are. And you'll have to bear with me on this. I want to include my own thank yous to all of you for coming here today, family, friends, neighbors who are living with her. But I also want to say thank you to those of you that never met my mother, but are here to support somebody in the family. Thank you for coming out. If you have had a chance to know my mother, you know that she was always one of the ones that was looking out for the underdogs. She was always looking out for the lonely, people down on the luck. She volunteered so many times to clean houses for people that couldn't get out, and she went shopping. She babysat for several others. I'd say, how do you meet these people? And she said, I just ran across them in the store on the street or something like that. She would volunteer to help them out because people helped her out when she was down on her luck. I do remember as a child, a small child, probably under the age of 10, coming around the corner a couple times and seeing old men sitting on the back steps of our home in Richmond eating a sandwich. And these were hobos that came off of the train in the back of the house there. And Mom decided to give them a sandwich so they'd have something to eat. So they sit on the back steps there and eat their sandwiches. Mom was a single mom since I was the age of 12 years old, and she always did what was necessary to take care of our family, and that often included 2 jobs. Even though she wasn't wealthy, and sometimes we struggled, she raised, as my sisters have alluded to earlier, 2 grandkids, Tony and Tom, and also her great-grandchild, Sienna. I do want to say at this point that she was extremely proud, Tom, of the man you are today. One of her longest jobs, and probably her favorite job, was working at Woolworths. She had a chance to interact with different people, and I think the interacting with customers and different people that would come through the store was her main focus, rather than getting a paycheck, which she also needed. My sisters have talked about the crafts that are on the back table there. It was probably years for us to talk my mother into selling crafts, to convince her that the crafts were good enough to sell. And once we convinced her to sell the crafts, she just refused to charge for her time. So she would sell these crafts that took her a week and a half, 2 weeks to make, and she would just charge for the cost of the materials. That was just how she was. She just would not charge what we thought the crafts were worth. At some point along the way, our mother took on the undaunting task, or the daunting task, of putting together family trees. And there are some people here today from my dad's family. My dad's family had 16 kids, so you can imagine what it was like to put together brothers, sisters, grandkids, great-grandkids at that point, and on and on. It actually took her months to do, but she enjoyed doing it. Not only did she put together the bulletin boards that she hung on the wall at my aunt's house, but she also put together booklets of each individual family and the grandkids and the trees down the line. She did the same thing for her own family, her mother's family, and her father's family. But Mom wasn't without her quirks, her unusual timing, her embarrassing moments for us, not for her. I remember one time we were going through a TSA line in Maui. We were coming back, the TSA agent was on that side, I'm on this side of the counter, Mom's right next to me. And the TSA agent found a larger container, more than 3 ounces of suntan lotion. It was nothing. I forgot to put it in there, or I forgot I put it in there. But Mom says, "Oh, is that the one you were hoping they wouldn't find?" Mom, I didn't say that. The TSA agent is right there. I couldn't get out of it. There were things that we would tell Mom, "Mom, don't tell anybody." Of course, maybe you were next to her and she would be telling somebody the same story you told her not to tell. Mom, I told you not to tell. I didn't hear you say that. So, yeah, there were times when she embarrassed us just a little bit. Mom's loved yard work. You know, she worked around the building. She'd come to my house in California, and she'd clean up the whole yard in two weeks. All the weeds would be gone. The whole yard would be trimmed. Plants in places where I didn't know plants could be. You know, they would come up in the springtime. How did that get there? But anyway, that's what she was about. One day I walked out in the front yard, and she's spraying Roundup on the weeds. Those of you who know anything about Roundup know that you can't spray the weeds with Roundup because it kills everything around it. So she's standing there, she's spraying the weeds. Mom, you can't do that. Why? I'm just spraying the weeds. I did get her to stop, but of course the next day I had these brown spots all over my yard that don't grow back for a period of time. Even though Mom was the most giving person I've ever known, or have ever known, she wasn't without her difficulties in life. One of her difficulties was when her great-grandchild, Sienna, was kidnapped in 1999. Steph and Mom raised Sienna probably she was like 3 weeks old when they first got her. And at 7 years old, Mom gave back Sienna to her biological mother at the mother's request, and shortly thereafter Sienna was kidnapped. One of Mom's final requests was for Sienna's ashes, or her skull was found in the Santa Cruz Mountains in 2000. Mom's request was for Sienna's ashes to be included with her ashes. So those ashes have been combined, and they will be put at rest to see that out and see today together as Mom requested. Many of you may wonder why we're here, way out here in Camp Homalani, and the reason is that this is where Mom grew up. This is where she spent numerous summers. I believe she was a camp counselor out here at some point, and she loved it out here. And we thought it would be a good final resting place for her. So that's why we are way out here at Camp Homalani. And finally, Mom wanted to come full circle. She loved Hawaii. She was born probably 100, 200 yards, as she says, from where she died, or at least her final apartment. Several years back, when she started searching for senior homes, she chose one. She only wanted this one apartment, 1605 Phillip Street, and didn't care about going into any other senior home. So she put in her name to be put on the list, and 5 years later she got the call, and she promptly moved here to Hawaii. So that's what she always said. She wanted to come full circle, and that's exactly what she did. She was born right in that small area, and her final living spot was right in that area.